Hey, great Tuesday evening. It is Taco Tuesday in the city of Brownsville. And it's actually turned out to be a beautiful day in the city of Brownsville, my Raza. Hey, Randy. Good evening, man. Thank you for calling us gentlemen. I do appreciate that. That doesn't happen all the time. It was a beautiful day in the city of Brownsville, despite the fact that earlier this morning, my Google Mini actually told me that it was going to be cloudy. I did not feel it cloudy the whole day. It was kind of sunny, beautiful day. Hey, Joe, what's up, my man? We're going to touch a little bit on fine art. So I'm glad Joe's out and about. Leah, how you doing, Leah? Say hi to Josh for me. God bless. Good to see you. Um, it was a beautiful day, Laura. Thank you, Laura, for continuously sending us the numbers out there. And we're going to talk about something that Laura sent in as well. We're going to talk about a letter that was sent out by the city of Mercedes. My goodness, Laura, that is very, very telling. And Mercedes being very, very proactive. Hey, guys, how's it going? Cloudy in Mercedes today. Good job. Somebody got some clouds. And this evening, of course, we have the distinct pleasure and honor to have with us amazing individuals from the city of Brownsville. We have Mr. Antonio Guevara. Antonio, how you doing, man?
Excelentemente bien. Thank you for inviting. Happy to be here.
Appreciate you, man. We've been enjoying a lot of the comments out there. Going like, man, who is this? Yeah, I have my pigtails, my little cuernitos. Man, who is this smart guy coming up here in the city of Brownsville? Appreciate your comments. Thank you for coming on. And of course, we have my man Jorge Luis Fuentes. How you doing, bro?
Good evening, everyone. I'm doing good.
You're looking good, man. I haven't seen you in a while, despite the fact that you probably haven't had a haircut in 3-4 weeks, 5 weeks. You're looking good, man.
That's true. Thanks.
I got a haircut this weekend. Thank you, Jesus. And of course, Frank, how you doing, man?
How's it going, world? Good evening. How's it going, Mr. Guevara and Mr. Fuentes? It's a good Tuesday evening. I have yet to get a haircut, so hopefully by this weekend I should be getting one. So I'm glad to be here. Excited for tonight's show, Erasmo.
Eduardo! Oh, Eduardo, I still have that book in my car, Eduardo. I'm still waiting for you to let me know when you want me to drop it off, and I'm going to order the Spanish one. I haven't done that yet. It's good to see you, Eduardo. God bless. Cesar, buenas noches. Guys, and let's start off, as we usually start off, numbers. And we know for a fact that Hidalgo County had 9 new cases. And, one of the things that I think was very surprising about Hidalgo, not surprising, but kind of like trippy, that Hidalgo was kind of like tooting their own horn. They were like, we don't have anyone out there, zero. And de repente, mocos, they come back to where they were. And we'll go touch into something in regards to what I was talking about, Laura going out there. As the Mercedes got, dished out, I think what is going to be kind of a trippy letter, but we'll talk about it in a bit. Cameron County. In Cameron County, we have 2 more deaths in Cameron County. 2 individuals who have passed away. One of them passed away in Harlingen at Valley Baptist Medical Center. An 80-year-old and an 86-year-old, sorry, and an 80-year-old passed away here at Valley Regional Medical Center here in Brownsville, Texas, which gives us a total of 25 individuals who have passed away in the city, in the Cameron County. Guys, those numbers aren't low. They aren't low in any way, shape, or form. Sorry, Jorge, I had you covered up by a picture. We did learn that in the city of Brownsville, we've got 5 new cases, guys. 5 new cases. The ages are mostly young individuals. We're not getting the 60, 70, 80-year-old guys out there. Harlingen, and gosh, another 6-year-old, guys. Another 6-year-old, and 5 individuals who are also in their 20s and 30s, and an 81-year-old from, I think it was Veranda, that was tested positive as well. La Feria 1, 2 for Los Fresnos, 1 for 2 from San Benito. One of them travel, and a 4-year-old in San Benito, guys. A 4-year-old in San Benito. Antonio, what do these numbers that tell you?
I don't know. I mean, also, besides this, the IHME, right, Institute of Health and Metrics evaluation, I think, out of the University of Washington, up their death projections again. 10,000 more. Lo acaban de hacer el domingo.
184?
I think 147, I think, is now the projection. But what's concerning, if you go to that website and look at their models, you actually see, how the flattening the curve is supposed to like come down. You're actually seeing like a small blip up. which is incredibly concerning, and that's what's prompting like all of this revision. So it's certainly concerning out there a little.
Jorge, what do you feel about the numbers going? How they're looking?
I mean, it's been really hard for them to, be accurate with their projections. But what we do know is that taking the measures, right? Like if 80% of people keep wearing face masks, that makes it much harder, for it to continue. And all you need is that 20% to not wear face masks for it to be the same as if we did nothing about it. So we got to make all these sacrifices count, and try and take control of this thing.
Well, I think one of the things that most impresses me is that we don't fall in the general numbers of the targeted age groups that COVID-19 usually affects, which are the older individuals out there. We're starting to see again the 20 to 30-year-olds up there in Hidalgo County, and we're starting to see them in our numbers as well. But guys, more than impressive than anything is the little kids out there, man. The little kids. And again, one of the things and again, I'm going to go through my spiel later on this evening. One of the things that really upsets me is that we have yet to hear from our elected officials. Nothing. Nada. Frankie, what do the numbers tell you?
Very alarming, gentlemen. Very alarming. Cameron County is at 544. Hidalgo County just surpassed 400. And again, we've been getting a steady increase in numbers. And again, Harlingen keeps on leading the county, leading the pack with these numbers. And again, it's very alarming whenever you have young children. We had a 6-year-old female from Harlingen and a 4-year-old from San Benito. Again, does this leads me to believe, are we taking every precaution necessary? We see how on the transmission, there have been linked to previous cases. So again, we've been hearing from Dr. Eder Hernandez how the people who have been going to get these COVID tests haven't been following proper protocol. Dr. Eder Hernandez has mentioned that he's been calling these people after he found out that the results came in positive, and he's asked them, what are you doing? And I'm at Walmart, or they're not quarantining. So my fear, Erasmo and Guevara and Cifuentes, is that we're not following proper protocol by isolating, by quarantining ourselves. So again, when is this gonna stop? Again, the end does not seem near. So we are at our 25th death, going into the 6th week. It seems like we're going to be in this hole for quite a bit.
Also, remember that Mayor Mendez, who's going to be on here on Thursday, Mayor Mendez made mention that there were 2 or 3 more deaths, and maybe this one is one of them that he was counting, maybe not. We just don't know. And again, it's and a lot of individuals out there, they're focusing on, and something that I saw today in the city of Brownsville's posting, that actually came out yesterday, I think. I might be wrong, but anyway, I saw it out there in regards to the postings of their numbers. You know how they have recovered out there, and if you subtracted the recovered from the positive cases in the city of Brownsville back when they had one of their meetings out there, it made it look like there was only 34 people with coronavirus in the city of Brownsville. And the mayor, got asked that. Mayor Mendez asked that question from the health department, and they tried to explain it. And again, I'm going back into my spiel, and I basically said the same thing, guys. The only numbers out there that we can measure right now, at this point, are the individuals that have been tested, which again are not a great percentage of the numbers out there, because those are that's the data that we have. We can also trust in the number of individuals who have passed away from it, because they passed away. It's kind of hard not, they have passed away. The number that we are unsure of, I've been saying this for days, maybe a couple of weeks. The number that we're unsure of is the number of the recovered, because we don't know what it means. And I think it was today, actually, the city of Brownsville posted the same thing. Now they put a little asterisk on the number of the recovered, and they said that this number is an estimate based on several assumptions. related to hospitalization rates, recovery times, which were informed by data available to date. These assumptions are subject to changes as we learn more about COVID-19. O sea, they did a little more educated way of saying it, but I'll use mine over theirs. Just don't know what recovered means, Antonio.
Yeah, no, I mean that those I've already harped a lot, right? We're not testing enough, right? There's like I said, a good rule of thumb that you only know that you're testing enough when the number of positive cases falls below 10%. We're nowhere near that, And one of the things that I also want to highlight is like the disparities also that this COVID is really highlighting. I was reading some numbers like number of deaths, right? So African American 92.3 deaths per 100,000, Hispanic 74.3, and white and Asian 45 and 34.5. So it's almost double the rate, right? So it's this it just surfaces all the inequalities also as well, and we just have to come to terms with that after all of this is done.
I agree with Juan. I did see Dr. Fauci struggle today. Struggle in regards to speaking, in regards to his mind. It was very, very painful. But again, something that I talked about. We talked about this morning in regards to the Performing Arts Center for the BISD. I made mention. I had my concept and idea of what a performing arts center should be, and I thought 5,000 seats until I talked to the band directors and the choir directors and the fine arts people, and they said, "No, Erasmo, that doesn't work for us. We need a 1,200 seat for it to be a performing arts center. At 5,000, it's not a performing arts center anymore." So again, what I opted to do then is say, you know what, let's bring in all the experts and have the experts tell us, because they're the ones that are going to be using this performing arts center. Same thing with Trump and with Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx. Guys, the experts are Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, not President Trump, in no way, shape, or form, or the vice president or anyone other on that task force, unless they are individuals that are scientists, doctors, individuals that have been studying this for years. I'm sorry. I love Papi Trump because Papi Trump sent me a check, but no, Papi Trump, listen to Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci's right. Let's see. I was remembering y'all this morning when I saw on the news all nursing homes were going to be required. Yes, because we've been saying it for a while, guys. We've been out there saying it for a while, guys, please. And we asked the city of Brownsville, we were begging the city of Brownsville, please, please, please. And again, I've been doing it privately, been doing it publicly. Please make sure that our nursing homes are safe. And I'm going to think the city of Brownsville was very proactive. And that's I'm picking up my leg. I'm wearing shorts. I was making sure. I'm sure that the city of Brownsville was being very, very proactive in that respects. But again, as we learned from Harlingen, Harlingen was not very proactive. And see the mess they got said. We had a question for you all. We'll go into that question and come back into the numbers. Jimmy, good to see you, Jimmy. Sorry. Hi, y'all. My question for the candidates. I'm sure COVID-19 has affected y'all from being able to conduct a regular campaign outreach. What efforts have you planned, however, to still outreach to the voters who are expected to vote TSC in November? Jorge.
Yeah, I mean, that has been really difficult. On every side of the campaign, as far as like being able to do research, just door knocking. I did that. I did some of that during the primary back in March. That's, we can't do that right now. Another one would be like fundraising, for candidates like myself that are, mostly grassroots. It's, impossible right now to do any type of fundraising. We might try to put together some online events. I know a lot of people right now are getting used to that. But the other thing is just trying to rely on social media because, the traditional routes of reaching people, aren't available right now. So we have that data, right now we're just trying to put that data to use as far as like, people that typically vote, but it's very challenging right now. And the most important thing is probably bringing awareness, letting people know when these elections were scheduled to. I know we have some in July, assuming they don't move those, and ours was moved to November. So we just got to try and keep, the people as informed as we can.
100%.
Yeah, for me, well, I mean, I actually have a bigger problem than that. And my problem is that I'm not a politician. La mera neta. Como dicen, I'm not a politician. Having said that, I still think that every single seat should be contested.
100%.
It should be contested with highly qualified candidates. And in those regards, I think that I'm uniquely qualified to be able to serve. And we can go into why I think I'm like that. And one of the reasons that I ran, and I'm going to tell you this interesting story, is that, again, I teach, or I was an adjunct instructor, teach business. And, part of what I do in my class is try to blend the theory, but also real life experiences, whether it's working in the maquila or working overseas, like bring that blend in there. And also political activism, basically, go vote, all of those things. Go run is one of the things that I told them. And you know what? They call me out. It's like, what about you?
What about you?
What about you? Oh, yeah, that was a dagger in the heart, man. So I said, ¿Sabes qué? You're right. Put your money where your mouth is.
Preach.
And this is why I put my hat in the ring. But, hey, I know the probability is incredibly low. That's fine with me. No, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I still am going to put my name in the hat, como dicen, and give voters an opportunity to select.
Bro, we're in it to win it, bro.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable. I had a lot of my teachers and professors were very big about, civic engagement and just being informed that the process to change is eventually, getting those that are supposed to be accountable to us to implement those changes that we want, right? And so I think it's very inspiring to be able to not only, see your teacher talking about it, but, putting their self out there and making that effort. Because a lot of people feel that way, that no seat should go uncontested.
Oh,
Sure.
that's one of the things that I've ran on. No one should run unopposed. No
Right.
one should run unopposed.
Right.
But besides that, again, guys, I'm not a politician either. I've never considered myself a politician. I've ran 5 different races, and I hate when someone tries to put me in that category, because politics here is horrible. It's horrible. But I always ran in it to win it. I'm in it to win it, in it to win it. And again, my suggestion, my recommendation to all y'all is this: be in it to win it. Fight it to the death. It's going to be good. Is Brownsville implementing a contact tracing plan to identify residents who have come in contact with confirmed COVID-19 patients? No. But that's one of the things that we're going to talk to Mayor Mendez on Thursday. And hopefully to Dr. Cerdan. I think Dr. Cerdan is going to be here on Wednesday. So we might get some information in regards to where that's at, what's going on, and why haven't we started. Again, guys, we're nowhere close to where we need to be in regards to testing. In no way, shape, or form. Ni en lo mínimo. With a limited number of tests available, why would one test if they are asymptomatic? Wouldn't you all want to save the test? That's what we said at first. I mean, that's one of the reasons why when someone asked Erasmo, maybe you should go get tested, I said, I want to save the test for the individuals that need them. Now we have a little bit more access to tests, or we should be having more access to tests. And if that's not the case, then we need to be doing something. Watch the first video of pandemic, then make your pandemic. I've done my little research on pandemic. Pandemic is not completely reliable. Not completely reliable. I've done some research on it. Do a little bit of research on it, and you'll find out a lot of interesting stuff that I found out. Good evening, Sherry. Love you. Kat, Sadie. Again, guys, and what a nice thanks, my man, Victor. I thought you'd appreciate that. I love me, my Egglies. Can you drop it off Thursday? Yes, Thursday I'll be there. Who are y'all running against? Well, it's a question that if y'all want to respond to, that's great. You usually don't mention who you're running against. You're running for the seat. You're not running against anyone. That's one of the things that I learned a long, long time ago, Christy. You're running for the seat to represent. You're not running against anyone. You always have the mentality that they are running, and I'll answer this for you. They are running against you. That's your issue. You're running for the seat, and that's the issue. I think a lot of individuals, a mistake a lot of people make. Yo estoy corriendo en contra de este vato. Nice. I specifically said no. No. Antonio is an awesome leader. I've worked with him many years. Jimmy! Let's go to breakfast, Jimmy!
Thank you, Jimmy. 1 vote, al menos.
With your money,
Plus mine. That's 2 votes.
it's not a good taste. Hater, Peter. Second, does any part of your platform focus on helping those TSC students that don't have the resources at home to do their homework? This pandemic has affected friends of mine that cannot finish their. Oh God, great question. Their studies because they can't afford to pay for their internet. How should a college like TSC help these students in efforts like these? Antonio, you want to take a shot at that one, or Jorge, whichever one wants to chime in? It's great.
So first of all, like MiFi's, right? These we're even doing it in our organization, basically where we're putting MiFi's in school buses, right?
Yeah.
And we're actually situating them in places where we can broadcast those hotspots, basically. So it's a great point, and I think that certainly the city or certainly the college should make sure that that is occurring, right? Because absolutely everybody needs access, right? That's another way that inequality manifests itself. But one of the other things that I also want to call out is that, we really need to make sure that our instructors like have the skills and resources to be able to deliver high quality instruction with rigor remotely. Not everybody, no todos tienen ese don. Not everybody has that, are capable to do that in front of a classroom, much less virtually. So that's what I worry about, and I hope that TSC certainly during the summer is allocating the proper resources, is doing the right professional development to make sure that rigor continues in the fall semester.
Amen. Jorge?
Yeah, I mean, I know at just in my work setting, I've been fortunate, to be able to make that transition, but it's hard for a lot of folks who don't, that's not their domain. And so for teachers that, you did have no curriculum online and they had to just make this sudden switch, it's not easy. And they need the IT support to be able to, make sure they're set up correctly. And on top of that, for the student access, I know, some in my family were able to, get a few months of free internet, right, through because they're TSC students. And I know that was tremendously helpful. I know TSC, there are some grants that are, have been allocated for this exactly. But I'm not sure. I know for my sister does college online, she had to apply and she went on there and the process was very challenging. And so the school has to be able to facilitate this for students as well. It's a challenge for kids to take advantage of summer classes if they don't have access to a good connection.
Well, something that you just mentioned is very important. Guys, we have to understand that TSC, UTRGV, and basically every college or university out there, they have a certain percentage of their classes online. Most of them, if not all of them, have a certain percentage of their classes online. So you're talking about an institution here in the city of Brownsville that has already had a foot in the door. They've already had something. But even so, what Andrea is saying is very true. I mean, I know many, many students. I've talked to several students out there that were having a heck of a time because they were having to transition from in-person learning into online learning on the cuff. I mean, right after they came back from spring break week. I mean, they had to do it. Y todavía sí batallaron. They still had a hard, and this is where I'm trying to get at, guys. They still had a hard time, and they were not completely at 100% out there as staff or as students. Now, think about BISD, guys. BISD had zero online classes. And guys, I mean, it's just for someone that has some online classes, it was virtually impossible, very difficult. Can you imagine an institution that has no classes whatsoever? It's very, very difficult. Antonio Guevara, but are you a good candidate? If so, what would make you a good candidate?
So that's a great question, and I'm glad that you're asking that. So first of all, I think that I'm uniquely qualified. And why do I say that? Uniquely qualified. It's not the degrees that I have. I mean, that doesn't matter. It's not about me. It's not, eso aparte. Two reasons why. The first thing is that I'm an instructor at the college. I'm an adjunct instructor. I'm not teaching this semester, but I've taught for the past, 7 or 8 semesters, business class. So when I tell you what's like the struggles from the classroom, from what the students are encountering, the struggles of what the faculty is encountering as well, This is not secondhand information. I'm telling you because I was there. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I was the director of facilities. So I was part of the administration, basically for 4 years, right? Or 3.5 years. I served recently. I'm not talking a decade ago. I'm talking like 3 or 4 years ago. And that means that I have, certainly all the beauty and splendor, because it is a beautiful campus, quite frankly. A lot of history, it's got a lot of things. But also, quite frankly, I also know its inefficiencies. I know its inefficiencies, and I can tell you, with a simple metric, that it's not running as efficient as it could. Right? Mira, déjate la pongo muy fácil. As a general rule of thumb, and again, I have facilities background, right? TSC has around 1.5 million square feet, más o menos, right? General rule of thumb is about 100 students per square foot, más o menos, or I'm sorry, 1 student for every 100 square feet. That means that the campus can operate or should be able to hold like 15,000 students. And there's only like 3,000 or 4,000 like on the campus. So dime tú, is that efficient? When you have like 25%, you're using 25% of the actual space. So what gives? What has to happen, right? You either have to increase tuition, right, to be able to counter that inefficiency. It's really what is happening. Or you make the hard decisions and you downsize. Like, don't tell me, just go to the ITech. Go to the ITech and you tell me whether or not there's a lot of traffic and whether or not you think that there's an efficient use of space. That's why I think I'm uniquely qualified.
Awesome. And let me add on to that very quickly. Going to Juan's question, is Adela Atkinson Garza involved in it with Sylvia Atkinson? To the teeth. To the teeth. They are tied at the hip. They are tied at the hip. I have one of the reasons why I've had issues with Adela Garza is because she has been so closely tied to the corrupt Sylvia that one eats and the other one poops. That's how close they are. Too close, and it disgusts me. But something that Antonio just mentioned is a very great point, and actually I'll use it to segue into something other, but then come back. There are only 3,000 or 4,000 students out there on campus for BISD, for TSC only. But then again, they report 8,000 to 9,000 students. And it's just fudging the numbers, guys. It's a fudging of the numbers. And the reason that happened was because Sylvia Atkinson and Prissy were on the board at BISD. And you're talking about them including a lot of dual enrollment students out there who are physically taking classes at BISD campuses, but they would add them onto their rosters over there. Adela Atkinson Garza and Sylvia Atkinson, those individuals out there, guys, they literally line the pockets of TSC. And again, as long as it benefits the students, I'm all for that. The problem is that we learned in December that Sylvia Atkinson was not only benefiting students, but was benefiting students in a small way while benefiting her pocket in a bigger way. And not only her pocket, because if you read the indictment correctly for Sylvia Atkinson or Adela Atkinson, I'm not sure. If you read the indictment correctly, you notice that she would take bribes from vendors in order to increase her control and her power. Not only on the BISD board, which she had complete control. She still has complete control. But every other political entity in the city of Brownsville, it's there on the indictment, guys. And that definitely includes TSC. TSC, because the same vendors that put $18,355, $18,355, one vendor in Prissy campaign finance, that same vendor who bills BISD $8 million was at the board meeting at TSC, trying to put the little light bulbs at TSC as well. And they'd wined and dined Adela back and forth. Wined and dined her back and forth. So, yeah, your question is are they tied? They're tied to the hip. AT&T, Spectrum, and other companies were offering free Wi-Fi access to students. Yes, I would dare say it's probably not enough, but yes. Thank you, gentlemen. I have to go back to do homework. Andrea, I love you, Andrea. Friday, see you Friday. Distance learning is greatly affected by socioeconomic Oh God, social low income students are still going to have to overcome larger. Look, guys, very simple, guys. It's not equal learning for everyone out there, in no way, shape, or form. Look, I took online classes when I was getting my bachelor's degree. It took me 25 years to get, but I still got it. I took online classes. Let me tell you guys, I can't do it. I cannot do online classes. You know, I'm not that bright. It takes a special kind of person to be able to be disciplined enough. And I'm very, very distraído, believe it or not. So, do we have socioeconomic demographic issues in the city at TSC, Jorge?
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely do. For me, in my experience, just to go back on, touch base on the point of like candidacy in my learning experience, through undergrad and stuff, and even now through grad school, people outside of the valley don't really can't really relate to the problems and the struggles we have here. So my experience has mostly been having to share with people my experience, my perspectives. But at the end of the day, you're educating them on how a lot of people don't have it. A lot of people have it different, right? And I don't, I think BISD could be doing a better job to get kids to be college ready. And, campuses like TSC helping these students either be work ready or if they're going to keep going to school, be able to do that, be able to be set up for success to do that. Because it's very challenging. Only 1 in 17 kids are college ready. And where we come from a district that's, has a high level of poverty. And so that alone makes it, harder to graduate on time. And so really supporting kids.
So I'm glad that can I just chime in a little bit? So
yeah, please.
We talked about inequality, and I think that's what prompted this short combo or this segment or segue. So first of all, I mean, just recognizing that, I mean, I work for an organization that it's stamped basically in our, in the stairways over there, like, hey, a college degree is the best anti-poverty strategy we possess as a nation. Simple as that. Students that are going through the hallways and the classrooms at TSC have the opportunity to essentially change their trajectories of their lives, quite frankly, right? And to me, I find it amusing when I'm driving I-69, it says TSC most affordable college in the RGV, which is factually it's accurate, right? Maybe it is accurate, but check this out, man. TSC average tuition $3,900.
It's crazy.
You know what they pay in Dallas Community College? $1,770. Now, it sounds bad enough. Well, let me tell you what makes it worse, right? Unfortunately, Brownsville in this area, a lot of the times we're at the lowest end from socioeconomic, right? So when you factor in the average income, basically, so let me do that. I have kind of the data here. In Cameron County, you're talking about $38,378. That's the average income. In Dallas, it's $59,839. So it's almost like a double whammy. It's a 1-2 punch. Es un gancho al hígado y luego un upper.
Yeah, you see that on both ends. We have twice the poverty levels as the rest of the country and half the income as the rest of the households. And and then we have our institutions should be serving us. I know I myself did a lot of classwork out of Dallas because I couldn't afford to enroll in TSC in the summer, and I don't think that's fair. I think kids that live here, come from Brownsville, should be able to benefit from going to TSC and not have to make that financial sacrifice.
To me, it's just mind-boggling. It's really mind-boggling to say that you can go to Dallas Community College or Tarrant County, or there's even Austin Community College,
Also, give me
like where we know the cost of living is way high,
skyrocket.
and for you to have significantly lower tuition than TSC is just not possible. No puede ser. It's not right.
It isn't right. I actually took 12 hours at ACC, a great college, Austin Community College. 12 hours. I paid $1,200 a semester while in Austin. It's crazy. And our students here are paying $4,000, $3,800, $900, $4,000 for classes. It's just crazy. Anyone is eligible to run for office? Yes. Question for Yara. Okay, good. Do you think other board members will be indicted along with Sylvia? Yes. Yes. I think as soon as the other shoes drop, which include insurance and food, yes, very much so. And God only knows what else she's been doing out there. Especially Roca Tipton, an employee of TSC who gave her the job. Adela Garza, probably. I mean, they're all in this together. What do you think about Donna's $5 million investment towards online learning? I mean, it's a good start. It's not enough. But then again, part of the problem with Donna, with cities here in the Valley, with the city of Brownsville and BISD, is like we're always playing catch up. We're always playing catch up, guys. And that's because we have zero leadership. Zero leadership. Let me tell you, the first thing that I did when I got on the board on BISD, the first thing, I had a conference, a summit to bring down all the big players, Spectrum, Sprint, and everyone else to start pushing the city to become a smart city. A smart city, guys. This is a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. I was pushing for Brownsville to become a smart city. Can you imagine if instead of dropping the ball, BISD would have started back then what they want to start now? Now they have committee meetings coming up where they're going to spend so much on notebooks and so much on infrastructure, and they're giving $21,000 to the city of Brownsville. Guys, why is it that we're always playing catch up? Why is it that all these politicians, even the ones at Texas Southmost College, they don't care about our students? They don't care about progression. They don't want great things for our people. They don't. They just want an avenue to put money in their pocket. That's it. And I'm ticked off. I'm upset. I got my 300% online. You're very disciplined, Laura. You're amazing. I love you. I need to focus on computer savvy. Exactamente. Why does it, Eduardo, what are the requirements for becoming a board member? Maybe I would like to become one in the future. Eduardo, you're an American citizen. You just registered to vote. You should have registered to vote some time ago, but I'm glad you registered to vote, my man. As long as you're registered to vote over the age of 18, you run, man. And don't worry, registering to vote is a good start. Thank you, Eduardo. We're going to need your vote this November. Wow, the comparison of our kids' tuition to other colleges across Texas is so upsetting. Guys, Antonio mentioned it. We are the poorest community in the country. The poorest community. And we have one of the highest tuitions in the state of Texas. Am I right, Jorge?
Yeah, that's right. And, there's a lot of, obviously, room to improve. I know it must have been like 4 or 5 years ago, states outside of Texas, I'm referring to, up in Michigan right now, but parents, those public school districts are competitive. People want to send their kids to school there, and they're giving their kids, I'm talking early elementary, third graders and on, are giving them all their homework online, just making it very intensive as far as getting them prepared to navigate that sort of medium. And we're not doing that here. We've been missing out on that opportunity. And then at the high school level, they're not competitive. I feel like Los Fresnos down the road produces very strong outcomes. When their kids take AP exams, you have something like 80% of them passing.
Crazy.
Versus the kids here, they're under 10%. And the kids say, well, I can't do it. Like they don't even have that effort. When you have kids down the road who, very similar demographic, they don't make those excuses. And so I feel like, to make the district competitive, we need to have competitive teachers. and ones that are committed to helping pushing kids to to get ahead.
I agree 100%. And Laura, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. It really doesn't necessarily fall completely on the tax space. Once you start understanding, let me tell you, one of the things that I was questioning when I was first running for BISD was why are we not receiving tax dollars from the Port of Brownsville? And I was going like, why is Port Isabel, sending that money to Port Isabel? And I had a very wise individual that knew about this to sit me down and say, no, that the issue is that there's a cap in regards to the amount of funds that a school district can receive. It's the same thing with the colleges. They don't base all what they do out there solely on the tax space. They wouldn't be able to survive. There's a lot of puff money. There's a lot of grant money. There's a lot of money that comes in. That's why every single department here in Brownsville, every little elected organization out here, they have their grant writers. They're out there requesting money like crazy.
Erasmo, we have the issue here of inequality. Again, South Texas, Brownsville in particular, is one of the poorest in the country. Just reiterating what Mr. Guevara had mentioned in regards to the comparisons of Dallas and Brownsville. We see that at UTRGV as well, how a lot of teachers take their masters at Lamar University because it's so expensive. So my question to the candidates is, what is your like every person in office, their first 100 days is very important. What's going to be y'all's number one priority when you get into office within your 100 days?
You want me to start? So, look, I have a real simplistic model there, quite frankly, and it's going to sound a little bit silly, but it's like the value triangle. So I have background in manufacturing, engineering, these type of things. And it's really as simple as three things. And actually, this is what I actually teach in my class as well. Cost, quality, and service. At the end of the day, it's about those three things in any business, including education, including the college. And again, cost, it's all about the tuition. There's no reason why we shouldn't be the absolute lowest in the state, right? It has to be. Now, how are we going to get there? We need to become more efficient in the way that we're operating. So what do you do? What do you do if you have something that is operating at 25% capacity and you're selling a product? Well, you either reduce the space to fit that capacity or you drop the price to increase traffic, right? Pretty much. So I guess my point is maybe if the tuition was a lot lower, by lowering that tuition, we'd get a lot more enrollment, on-campus enrollment. On-campus enrollment, basically. And therefore, that is another way to become efficient. Now, if you're not willing to take that path, then you have to right size. You have to right size the college for the current enrollment. And that means thinking really seriously on whether or not we should be at iTech. Quite frankly, there's no reason. I can go on and on. First of all, UTRGV used to lease a lot of the buildings in the main campus. Obviously, they are exiting now. They're exiting because they have their own buildings, right? So there's a lot of space. And quite frankly, I think that if we had one main campus, if we're not willing to grow the enrollment to that pace, one main campus would make for a much more efficient operation. A couple of the other thing that I want to highlight. So I'm glad that enrollment is going up and the dual enrollment that benefits the community, benefits the BISD. So kudos to them. That is a good point. But I really want to talk about persistence. Student persistence is not something that we track or that, what do I mean by that? It's don't tell me how many are enrolled. Tell me how many are finishing.
Yes.
Tell me how many are finishing. So that stat is it's not publicized at all.
No.
And it's incredibly important at the resources to make sure that students persist through college, because I even have family members, quite frankly, that they get into debt. They take a couple of semesters. They don't have anything to show for it. and that student debt is with you, and you don't have anything to show for it, quite frankly, without a degree. And that's why I think that really making sure that students are able to persist has got to be one of the top priorities and goals for the campus. And speaking of goals, like, what are the goals for TSC?
Don't exist.
What are the goals? I mean, again, I work for an organization that we have goals posted on the bathroom stalls. We call them the bathroom goals. Imagínate. They're present anytime you go in there to do your business. Ahí están, they're plastered there. So everybody knows what are the goals, basically. What are the goals around tuition? I mean, about efficiency, around cost, quality, and delivery of service, basically. And then I can go on, but I'm going to let my colleague over there also. I feel like I'm taking a lot of airtime.
You're fine. Before we go to Jorge, let me just chime in real quick, Jorge. I'm going to give you a little bit of time. Not that you need it, but I'm going to give you a little bit of time. Let me tell you guys, when I started to dig in regards to this corrupted link between TSC and BISD, this corruption link that Sylvia Prisi, Adela Garza, and others on those boards, they started to perpetuate. I said, okay, show me the numbers. I want to see the numbers. And after so many years of BISD paying so much money for our dual enrollment and having our kids out there, and then I said, well, guys, great, because I would actually go out and, promote dual enrollment with students. And I say, guys, after 2 years of doing dual enrollment, guess what? You'll have an associate's degree. And I said, that makes sense. You've been taking dual enrollment courses for two years. You're going to have an associate's degree. So sales de high school, not only with a high school diploma, but also an associate's degree. But guess what? Only one individual had obtained an associate's degree after so many hours of dual enrollment classes. Because it was a cash cow. It looked pretty on paper, but there was zero direction for the students. There was zero counseling in regards to students having a clear pathway to the degree that they wanted to get. So they would be taking classes a lo tonto sometimes that wasn't even going to go towards their degree. So school made money. It ate up a lot of financial aid. Everyone made money. Benefited the schools. First 100 days, Jorge.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what we were just talking about, outside of Texas, it's 4-year graduation rates are above, 80, 85%. It's normal for households, to leave for those amount of weeks in 4 years and come back and be done with school. But in Texas, the best institutions in Texas struggle to get, to 75%, right? And, TSC's is hovering around like 15%.
Yeah.
And so we're charging, over 4 times what other campuses are charging. And it's costing us, 4 times longer to do it. It's not a good investment. It's also important that the community college here can be competitive, and there's no reason why, if we pay taxes to our community college, that we should be taking classes at a community college outside of our district. There's no reason for that to be taking place. For me, I think the most important things, take care of the first 100 days would be to do, an inventory of what's working and what isn't, right? And the operations, and try to find those efficiencies, because, there's nothing wrong with improving enrollment, right? And getting more revenue through financial aid. But the campus needs to be better serving the community. And so, making that inventory to identify where those improvements can be made, and it would be one of the first steps. Another would be just to, um, you know, you probably have a better experience of what the culture is like there. But at the top, the culture matters, and so trying to set the right tone for us to basically have a culture of transparency, right? If your leaders, if they're not accessible, to the general population, then we need to have that open line of communication with the community, right? As far as like being strategic with the execution, TSC is making an effort to be ambitious, and I'm completely behind that. But in their strategic plan, we need to make sure we don't leave out all of our stakeholders, right? All of our students, all of our teachers, and there's ways to do it. You know, where you bring everyone in and then you find what pushes people to make those decisions, right? What pushes kids to go to TSC versus other colleges. What pushes kids to make decisions between one career or another, and really try and find where those needs are, right? And making sure we can increase those classes that kids are going to be excited to take, right? That you're mentioning as far as employment rates, a lot of other schools, that's what measures, their prestige, if you will, right? We graduate and 100% of our graduating class has jobs. That's impressive. And so I think the school needs to be transparent about, their strengths and their weaknesses, and bring everyone in so we can make sure that moving forward, we're not leaving people out at the cost of, a bad investment.
I agree completely. And very quickly, a very quick answer to the question for Mike. A question for candidates: what do you propose TSC do with abilities such as iTech that is hardly used? Which I think, Antonio, you were alluding to in your first on the 100-day statement. What do we do with iTech?
Look, if we cannot grow enrollment like significantly, like in a big way by lowering tuition significantly, like to the absolute lowest, so that we can fill that up, we have to make the hard decision to consolidate in the main campus, quite frankly. And that I think that is a path forward. I realize that is, controversial maybe, but nonetheless, I don't know. That's what I would do. That's what I would think of. Either lower the tuition to a point where we can increase in enrollment in a significant way, or right size the college basically by getting out of iTech.
Jorge.
Yeah, and so I think there's two parts to that. It's finding out what what's incentivizing the community here to go to TSC, and what they need out of it. And the second part would be to see where the economy is going, right? I think there's an opportunity for TSC to have those relationships with businesses. I know they have programs where the funding comes from grants and places like that, where they do training for businesses. And so I feel like that building has potential to give kids a place to get training and work. And it's a collaborative environment, right? It's coming from the students, the money they're bringing in, the resources the campus is providing, the funds that a business is investing, and then you have the state that would support those initiatives too.
So yeah. Another thing that I want to make, another point is that, to me, TSC needs to concentrate on its core competency, right, of higher ed. They own a lot of lots, right? TSC owns a lot of lots around the campus, which is not efficient, right? You still have to upkeep those lots. I'm not sure why we're still doing that. So I would not advocate either for renting space in iTech. That's not the core business of the college. The core business of the college is excellent higher education, right? And that's what I think we need to concentrate on. And another point, I want to give out some love to the faculty out there. I mean, the faculty's not paid very well. I mean, just look at their salary schedule. There's high schools that pay, or ISDs that pay more than the college, which is mind-boggling to me, quite frankly. So really, again, it speaks to potentially the inefficiencies. Maybe we cannot afford to pay, but man, just like I stated in some of the comments, right? The instructor in front of the class is the determinant, absolutely, for that. It's what determines success for the student.
Well, I think in regards to the iTech building, I mean, it's a beautiful building, guys. I mean, it has its history here in the city of Brownsville. I mean, it served its purpose. Now, if the purpose was to be an educational facility, we need to make sure that it's actually being used as an educational facility. I mean, I know for a fact that they started to rent out different spots in different places for business, for other things. That's not the reason why it was fixed up as iTech building for TSC. It wasn't. Now, guys, if they don't have the students for it, and as something Antonio mentioned is very, very true, UTRGV is building their own buildings. They're growing, getting closer to the bridge, allá para afuera. That's why they wanted to take Lincoln Park from the city of Brownsville, guys. They are planning to continue to grow the University of Texas in Brownsville, or UTRGV, going that way. They have no interest in our buildings anymore, so they won't be renting our buildings anymore, despite the fact they still owe us millions of dollars, I would say, in regards to the rent. They still owe us money for the rent. And it's very hard to get rich people to pay up stuff they owe, so it's not going to happen anytime soon. But again, guys, if we don't have the student population and we're just out there paying electricity, water, and other things for an empty building, I mean, what's up with that? Guys.
Not only, yeah. Here's another example of inefficiencies, Erasmo. So just look at the Jacob Brown. Look at the Jacob Brown and how often it's utilized, right? Casi, I mean, it's a money pit, quite frankly. I mean, we're throwing, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's efficiently run, and we should really think on maybe we should transfer that to the city or something that just makes that at least a break-even proposition, right? But we shouldn't be subsidizing. Like TSC students to tuition should not be subsidizing inefficiencies of the college.
No.
And that's one example right there.
It's an embarrassing example. I think it's empty, but big companies are getting $1 million contracts to fix it up. It's 100%, 100% true. And see, that's, again, guys, that's the problem with, and someone made mention earlier, I think it was Christy that asked in regards to, I'm not very familiar with TSC politics. And let me tell you, every single little entity here in the city of Brownsville wants to have their hand in the cookie jar, folks. The hand in the cookie jar. And I'll give you an example. And anyone can chime in anytime they want. I'll give you an example, guys. Today at 1 o'clock, BISD had a facilities committee meeting. Facilities committee meeting where they were discussing new building projects. New building projects where they had their architect there. They had the 2 deputy superintendents there. And they're saying, like, well, we've got to spend $5 million by December. Got to spend $20-some million doing this. And another couple of $1 million doing that over there. Wait a minute, guys. Don't you all remember that BISD was recently saying that they were short $20 million? Didn't have any money? Haven't even paid their teachers their stipend yet. But hey, guys, contractors have to be paid. These companies that put in the glass, put in the windows, put in the doors, put in the cement, put in the floor, these companies, they put tens of thousands of dollars in politicians' pockets. Tens of thousands of dollars. They want to get paid. The politicos, they don't care that your students don't have the resources. They don't care that teachers aren't getting a decent raise. They don't care about the insurance matters. They don't care. They don't care that they're going to lower the amount that they pay and increase the amount that you pay. They don't care. They only care about putting the money back into the vendors' pockets. That's all they care about. Contractors make millions. Millions. For what? Does TSC need to build more buildings? No. Does it need to keep a lot of the old? No. Does BISD need to build some more buildings and more schools? No. Guys, the report's out today. TEA basically said in the report that's out there on the page that schools should see a significant drop start the fall. It's going to happen. They've also made recommendations and suggestions in regards. TEA, the organization that stupid Rene Gutierrez out there, COVID-16, follows like a hawk. Oh, no, TSC said that's what we have to do. Well, let me tell you, TSC right today sent out that they made an announcement. TEA is recommending 3 options. 3 options to start the next school year. And you know what? No one is going to like them. It's moved to a year-long model. Is that what everybody else out there wants? A year-long model? Add 30 days to a traditional 180-day calendar? Or the third option is to spread the school year out with intermittent breaks. Guys, these are the recommendations. This is what they're talking about. And the reason they're talking about is we're going to have a shortfall. And the same thing's going to happen in TSC, guys, because a lot of the students are going to be so upset at what they experienced this last part of this semester and what they're going to experience during the summer semester. It doesn't matter how many hours you're going to give them. They are not going to want to come back. They're going to want to wait. A lot of students out there are not going to come back to our campuses, guys. It's the truth. How could you be planning to build more? If you build it, they will come? That's only in movies. Not true. Those guys couldn't even play baseball. If you build it, they will come. Are we stupid? Goodness. Millions of dollars. Millions. I thought tuition was free up to $70,000. This is Brownsville. No, not free. Nothing is free.
We have to read the fine print.
Read the fine print. The poor get poor and the rich get more money in the pockets, bro. Eddie. Sell BISD para la sede X and Drew Brown, Minera Pay and Precision can all take a very long vacation. Ratas. I can't say the P word, but yeah, they're rats. Rats. They care about them pockets. Rudy, preach it, bro. I sure wish it was. I sure wish it was true. COVID-16. Rene Gutierrez, it's not COVID-16. It's COVID-19. Hey, TSC lost the lead to TSTC in Harlingen because TSTC has a plan that works and that accommodates to the business needs of the community. Is that true, guys?
I can't speak to like what the programs are, but I do know that they have like really like renewable energy programs that feel like they're on the cutting edge, basically, or at least on the forefront, and that have more of a vision on what's coming. At least that's my interpretation, but I don't have all the details, quite frankly, on their program.
I don't know. I have details in regards to their program, but I'll tell you something. They are so in tune with Texas A&M. I know for a fact that they start to innovate a lot of the things. But I think what happens with TSTC up there in Harlingen is that they do a lot of what I do here in Brownsville. Because for some reason, a lot of people think, oh man, that Erasmo is very smart, and Erasmo isn't very, very smart. But Erasmo does do research. Erasmo reads. And Erasmo sees what's happening and what's working in other parts of the district, and other parts of the state of Texas. You see, I don't even know the difference between the state of Texas and the district. So that's how smart I am. But
Bendito Google.
Bendito Google. El Googlealo. Googlealo, gato. Hey, GSTC out there partners with Texas A&M. And what does Sylvia Atkins and Nadella Garza do to Texas A&M? They spit in their face. They spit in their face. ¿Por qué?
Yeah, I mean, TSCT has, almost twice the graduation rate, of TSC. And if the school can be more efficient, just making sure that kids can get in and out on time, that should allow them to serve more kids, right? Not just trying to, keep making money off the same students. And, something they haven't done a great job is maintaining those good relationships, with UTRGV and with campuses outside of the valley, because those are the campuses that bring in, the workforce development, right? TSC did a bad job of, just being able to have a dialogue with A&M and try to move, try to be at the table to be part of these projects. And, it was over, just poor leadership as far as, making sure that TSC can benefit. And so we can't be closing the doors, on opportunities like that. We need to be able to attract companies. Companies should want to move here, right? But they aren't going to be able to hire the people that live here if we don't have the skills, to be able to work for them.
Hands-on program TSCC. It's what Antonio was mentioning, guys. Yes, I'm going to go to this question for Rudy. It's a really good question, and I will tell you. You ask me a question, and I will answer your question. Erasmo, where's the money that had been awarded for new fine arts building to be built on Morrison Road? The building was promised to all schools. It was promised 10 years ago. 10 years ago. I'll tell you what they did with the money. Sylvia pocketed our students' money. Sylvia! Give the money back, Sylvia! Sylvia! Guys, it frustrates me to death. And look, guys, anyone out there that's listening, and I know my haters are listening, and I know my BISD board is listening. Anyone out there that's listening, go talk to a band director, a choir director. Go talk to fine arts department. Go talk to them and ask them. Ask them, and they'll tell you the truth. Erasmo was the only one out there fighting for fine arts. The only one! And you know why? Because when a governing body promises something, they better make sure that they deliver. That's why with anyone that's running, I tell them the same thing. If you're going to promise something, keep your word. Keep your word. O si no, mejor no digas nada. Right now, what happens? All these stupid politicians, they go out there and they promise. Like idiots. Promise. And then you don't hear from them, guys. You don't. You don't hear from them for years. Until it's time for them to run again. When's the last time you heard from Adela Atkinson? When's the last time? 6 years ago when she was running. Ahorita anda la Minerva toda it's a hoax, abracadabra. And everybody else. Have you heard from them before? No. Flippin' Phillip, who was supposed to do coffee with me, didn't take me to coffee. Flippin' Phillip. Now they want to go out there and ask for your vote, pander for your vote. It's election season, guys. But ask the band directors, the ones that actually have interaction with their students, and they'll tell you what happened. They've been lied to constantly and regularly. They've been promised, they've been told, we're going to do the Performing Arts Center. We're going to have the Performing Arts Center. I mean, ask them. Ask our band directors, our fine arts people. Ask them if they've seen the plans. I've seen the plans. They've seen the plans. The plans are there. You know how much money we paid for those plans? Like $15,000, I think. Crap load of money 10 years ago. Probably now worth $30,000, $40,000. You know how many stones have been placed out there on Morrison for our Performing Arts Center? Just one. The one that the guy cutting the grass next door kicked over with a lawnmower machine to our property. One rock. Y esa que se vino, nomás en el aire. The one that missed my car windshield. The one that made me have a little accident. Guys, they stole our money. And now Minerva wants you to vote for her again, you idiots. Stop voting for her. Flipping Phillip. Take me to coffee, damn it. Little Eddie, why haven't you addressed my band people's money? I'm tired. I'm mad. I want my band kids to get their money. My band people. Queso para board member. Yes. Hey, financial aid pays for students that can't afford it, and colleges take advantage because they raise their tuition knowing financial aid will pay the higher tuition. But the problem is that the working class, like teachers or hardworking parents who don't qualify, that's a great point, are going to have to get loans or get a second mortgage in order for our kids to go through school. It's crazy. It's madness. It really is madness. Because, Liz, I'm sorry, something that Antonio mentioned, something that Jorge mentioned. Guys, our tuition is way too high. In comparison, based on the median, based on the amount of money that our people make around here, it's madness. It's madness. Am I lying to the people here, Jorge and Antonio? Am I lying to the people?
No, absolutely not. Go ahead, Jorge.
No, you're spot on. Behind financial aid, the biggest revenue behind financial aid is what they collect in tax revenue. And so, something you mentioned earlier, how much they pay teachers, right? And so if you're not attracting teachers, with attractive wages, and you're not attracting students, with high tuition, and meanwhile you're just, taking advantage of the community's, revenue, it's not serving anybody, right? If
No
they can't
one! Not in!
Mhm.
We're screwed!
What? Here's a noble concept, and this applies to the college or ISDs or anywhere. How about pay for performance, right? Like for the administrators, the superintendent, pay for performance. Show me your goals. Show me your progress towards goals. Then we'll, compensate you accordingly.
Exactly. Band directors are the backbone of academics. Fine arts. I would expand it, Eddie. Fine arts. But let me tell you, I know the study that Eddie's talking about, and it's very, very true. There are actual studies that show that students who have gone through band, choir, fine arts in general, they do better at the college level in life. They are the backbone not only to academics, but to all formation for individuals in our community. Without fine arts, student grades would significantly drop. That's very true. It's science. It is science. It's been proven, Eddie. Thank you for what you did. That was a band. I love my Hannah drumline. They know it. I love my Hannah band. I love my Lopez band, award-winning band. Award-winning band. The band director. I mean, got it in 5A, got it in 6A. The guy's amazing. My Pace band. No, shut up. Shut up. Amazing. All of them. Porter band. I love those guys. Everyone. They got screwed over by the superintendent and by the school board. I'm not lying. Go ask them. They'll tell you the truth. They won't say it out loud. They will say it in public because there's fear of retaliation. Can Jacob Brown be used as a fine arts center for Brownsville? No. It's too old. It's too old. And they can't remodel that. I mean, again, and then you go into, it's como like, I buy this house. And, if you're going to flip the house, I guess it's okay. But I buy this house, and I go like, oh, it's great. I bought it for $40,000. But, whoa, I'm going to put in $200,000. Now, $240,000 house. Hey, man, you could have bought the same house for $150,000. There's a service to benefit. That's my opinion. It's all about money for these schools, for the public and the universities. All while the students get screwed along. Again, tuition is too high, guys. Tuition is too high. $3,900. I'm sorry, guys. That's too high for the city of Brownsville. Yeah. And you know what a lot of the stupids out there say? Tienen financial aid. Importa.
Here's the thing, Erasmo. Financial aid is not just grants.
No.
Right? I mean, it's like comprehensive, but it includes loans también that you have to pay back. And guess what? Student loans, even in a bankruptcy, you cannot shake those away.
No.
I mean, they stay with you forever, right? So I just want to put out there, right? That it's not just grants.
Forever. The board rather get rid of former administrators of fine arts and build a new building. They appoint their kiss-ass friends in the fine arts department. Bro, it's all... Come on, guys. This is Brownsville. We don't have the most qualified individuals in the key positions. We don't. We have the compadres, the tios, the primos, the vendors. That's who we got. They are mentirosos. So damn true. It's all about... Had parents in the middle class or upper class got screwed if we didn't qualify for financial aid student loans up the wazoo. Guys, it's madness, guys. You know what? I remember a time when TSC was cheaper, guys. Back in, I'm going to show my age, but back in the day when I first started school, guys, I mean, I would pay for my classes, and I still got a check like for $600 or $800, left over from financial aid. Y dije yo, woo! Y mira por allá a la isla. That's why I didn't do. That's why it took me 25 years to get my bachelor's degree. Pues porque quedaban $600 y me iba de porazo. It's what we would do. That's why Erasmo was enrolled, but sure as hell dropped out after a couple of classes out there. But what I'm trying to say is the point that I'm trying to make. Not that I was a party crazy man back then, but that which I sort of was. But what I'm trying to say is that you had a little bit of money left over. Now there's no money left over for financial aid. It pays off la escuela, la escuelín, y unos cuantos libros, Frankie. A couple of books. That's it. And you still have to find money for the other books. Tienes que ir a Matamoros a sacar copias. Am I lying? Guys, am I lying out here? Vas a Matamoros, sacas las copias. Y luego regresas el libro para que te den los $200 for the damn book. $250 for a stupid book. Use. Great. Where on Morrison? Right there.
The Performing Arts Center. He's asking where the.
Yeah, it's Morrison between Pablo Quisel and the calle que va para Brownsville Country Club, San Marcelo. Between San Marcelo and Pablo Quisel. If you're coming towards Paredes, it's on the right hand side, and there's a little sign that say BISD property. That's where it was supposed to go. He's right. He came to visit me and my coworkers at the Olivera band. Oh, I love Olivera, and got to see our facilities and try to help us. Thank you for support. Also, thank you for speaking at our professional development meeting at the beginning of the year and let us know you would be fighting for our funds that were taken away this year. That's right. And let me tell you, bro, let me tell you guys, our facility, these people are talking about building new stuff. Olivera needs a band hall. Our students, and guys, our students are out there surrounded by mold. Donde cae el agua. Our students, the richest district south of San Antonio, Falk, F-A-U-L-K, Falk Middle School. I didn't say the F word. Falk Middle School, guys. The band hall, I mean, looks as bad as a lot of the homeless shelters out there. Guys, the richest school district south of San Antonio. And they're talking about building new stuff instead of fixing what we have. It's madness. They only mentioned it briefly at the facilities meeting today, but no discussion. It was just mentioned for a split second. That's right, Kat. That's what frustrates the crap out of me. Guys, that should be priority number one. You know why? Kat, tell me if I'm wrong. I was seeing it. Oh, they're talking about all these priorities. Change the light bulbs. They're still concerned about changing the damn light bulbs. Putting more money into E3 and Schneider. The companies that are already taking millions, the ones that are putting money in Prisi's pocket and Drew's pocket and Sylvia's pocket. But 10 years ago, 12 years ago, our fine arts was promised a performing arts center. Guys, shouldn't that be a priority? Every rinky-dink district in the valley has a performing arts center. San Benito. San Benito's a ranch. I love San Benito. It's a ranch. I love you, San Benito. Harlingen has a performing arts center, Frankie. A beautiful performing arts center. Edinburgh. Brownsville?
Nada.
Nothing. And it was promised to us, Kat, 10 to 12 years ago. They didn't lift a finger. So BIC will continue to build new facilities, but will absorb positions. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Does that make sense to anyone? Guys, let's see. We have other questions. Sorry, guys, I'm being very slow. Yes, also the bands did not get their... Guys, there it is. They did it. They took from each of my high schools $25,000 to $28,000, and I was pissed. Middle schools $20,000. They did not give our money back. Oh damn! I thought it was Michael Rodriguez. No. Thank you for looking about for the bands. They're the directors, and you know it, Kat. I love my bands. I love my band boosters. I love my band students. All of them. All my fine arts. I think the board should consist of ex-teachers. I'm going to disagree. Silvio was a former teacher. Drew was a former teacher. I think Prissy was a former teacher. Guys, former teachers don't always make the best board members. You need individuals who are not corrupt, who are not part of the political, who are not politicians. That's the type of people we need to elect. The people that are not politicians, they're not part of that corrupt political machine. The ones that don't owe favors to vendors. And look at guys, and you got two options here tonight. I mean, for TSC board, but still options, guys. I mean, talk to these people. I carried a 4 God, quit sweaty. You're a brain, bro. Go trombones! I love my Hannah, man. My Hannah band. Let me tell you guys, my Pace band, man. My Lopez, all my schools bands. I walked in there and people would go like, "Damn, he's here," because they knew. They knew. Good night, Paul. Right now, Harlingen has the monopoly of the performing arts. Look at what Kat is saying, guys. This is so true. They have the monopoly of the Performing Arts Center. All bands have no other venues to go to for pre-UIL, $400 per band. Wish we had our own performance. Guys, not only that, Pat. Not only that, Kat. For filming, we have to go all the way to Corpus. For recording, we go all the way to Corpus. We don't have the facilities at the richest district south of San Antonio. We sometimes go to Edinburgh. Sometimes have to use Harlingens. It's madness. Go Hannah, go Lopez bands. All BISD bands. I love my bands. And that's what you're right about tuition being absurd. I go to school here in Houston now, and I swear tuition is about the same for what I was paying at UTRGV. Freaking ridiculous. How the heck can you compare? You cannot compare. You cannot compare. I'm sorry, guys. You can't compare a lot of the universities out there to our universities down here, and for no other reason but the social economic status. Guys, we don't make the money someone in Houston makes. And you can say, well, they spend more. Not on college. Not on education. They spend a lot less. Sylvia Atkins fired Rendon. Yes. Big Dr. Rendon would allow Sylvia Atkins to put Paul in the Fine Arts Project. Yes. She did. And now Dr. Rendon is doing a great job with ballroom dancing. Great job with ballroom dancing. Am I right? I think I am. Y todavía te vas de porazo. Ya no, Martín. I stopped partying after my DWI. I'm not drinking anymore. Pero si me invitas a cenar o comer una nieve como la que traes ahí, Martín, te la acepto, papacito. Tuition doubled after the federal government nationalized student loan program. They've been doubling here like crazy, period. Let's finish off the question, guys. Sorry, guys. Yes, Oliveira, among other bands, are in desperate need. Yes. Guys, they're instruments, guys. Full of mold. Mold! Am I lying, Kat? Instruments full of mold. Joaquin Luis, are you a nurse?
No, I'm not. Right now, I work in social work. Not a nurse.
You can take my temperature any day.
Yeah.
And
I mean, for me, I'm looking into technology because it's just, one of those fields that, is attractive, right?
We need a manslaughter technology at TSC, bro. So I'm glad that I was right about everything. Kat, have I ever been wrong? I don't know. Don't remember. No, guys. I mean, people call me out if I ever say anything that's not true or not. But I need a new school period. Amen, Mike. Amen. Progreso. Para qué? Para la nurse. We're always going for the most stupid. They're always going for the yes. Very good. I love you, Eduardo. He knows because he made sure to visit every campus and spoke to every person in character to approach him. Always. Everyone. The janitor, the custodians, the food service people, the teachers, the counselors, the nurses, everyone. Everyone. They want to spend more and more money on new things, and they don't cut the grass at campuses right now. 100%. We need a stadium with sufficient parking. We actually, and guys, we do need a stadium. The problem is that the stadium needs to be built by the city, an event center, a major event center where we can have Comic-Con. And that needs to be done by the city or by the county. Guys, it's not It's not a BISD responsibility or a TSC responsibility. I mean, we can help out, I'm sure. Go Vikings made it to state. God, Viking band. That last performance, that Christmas Carol performance, amazing. Married to goat and churned butter in my feet. Jebediah, I love you. Lopez High School is a beautiful, huge theater. Oh, it does. Beautiful. Good. We need a stadium. Frankie, anything else that we need to cover before we finish all these?
No, thank you so much to the candidates. And if you could end the citizens of Brownsville consider you in November.
I can go first. I'm a Brownsville native, right? I went through the Lopez band program, and for us that leave to school and come back, we want to see the community turn around, right? And it's frustrating when you don't have the biggest components, the school district, the city, investing in ourselves, right, and each other, to make sure that our middle schools, are the best middle schools around, and that we can be competitive, right, with qualified teachers, and give students an opportunity to not have to choose to leave, right, for a better outcome. I want to serve, the place that gave me everything I have right now, and for me, it's just being able to give the community the chance to have a seat at the table, right? And being able to build those relationships, because the people who are, part of the establishment, they have no need to, to have that outreach. And so for us, it's about, making sure that the folks, the rest of us have a voice, and that, someone's there to advocate for, the needs of the establishments are not the needs of our neighbors. And it's important. It's important to have, representation that we have access to, and that, is helping these institutions be transparent and not taking advantage of, everybody else.
Thank you, my man. Tonio?
Yeah, for me, I'm just going to reiterate, right? A college degree is the best anti-poverty strategy we possess as a nation. Simple as that. We need to make sure that we have the absolute lowest tuition in the state, so that, our community has access to higher education, and therefore have all of these opportunities that we know derive from obtaining a college degree. And then a couple of other things, right? Like I talked about, like in some of my comments, like leaders, to me, it's about having a moral compass, at least myself, right? So a couple of things that I bring to the table. So first of all, I'm a big believer in diversity in the boards, right? So I don't like the cliques. I don't like the, that diversity in the board, whether female, male, different ages. Hey, represent the different generations also, right? So I'm glad to see more, the younger generations actually be politically active as well. But it's not just that. It's a fundamental understanding that diversity in a board and this healthy conflict is when we do our best thinking, basically. If you're going to have like this echo chambers, right? This groupthink approach, that's not when we're doing our best thinking as a board. So I think I can bring that diversity certainly to that. Another thing, money out of politics and politics out of boards. Money out of politics and politics out of board. So to me, I struggle with like, hey, how much am I willing to spend and campaign? Because I'm not willing to essentially obtain sponsorships or whatever. You know what? I'd rather lose in a landslide than to give a perception that somebody has gained influence over the decisions that I'll be making at the board. So that's just another thing. Term limits. To me, it's about one term nada más, particularly here. If I win just one term, dale chance a otros, right? So I don't like this like successions or like multiple terms. I'm a big believer in term limits. I can put it out there that to me, it's about that way I won't have to worry about like getting reelected. Like, what is the number one reason why, what politicians want to do? Pues get reelected. I'm against that. We need new blood in there, in the board. Again, that's when we do our best thinking, and we should give opportunity of these diversity of ideas, right? And then what I stated earlier on, right? Electoral choice. I want to make sure that our Brownsville community has a choice, right, of candidates that are well qualified. And I will posit that I'm uniquely qualified, not only because of my background, but because of the two components, like I said, a instructor, business instructor, and because I know the facilities. I've been in the trenches, in the attics, in the crawl spaces, right? Not just on the walking the corridors. No, no, no. In the trenches, con la raza with my facilities and custodial team. So saludos if anybody is watching me. So again, thank you, Frankie, for the opportunity, and I look forward to potentially joining and learning how to increase my social media presence. Of which it's a good start to be on Brownsville Talk, I think.
Man, brother. Hey, Erasmo, remember seeing the Mono instruments? Yes. And let me tell you, Robert, I was furious. Anyone that saw me there knew that I was PO'd. I was furious. And I went directly and I said, what the hell is going? And I made sure I took the superintendent. Literally had to take him. I want you to see this. I don't care. Come and see this. I was PO'd, big PO'd. And then even more PO'd that they took away our middle school band's money. They took it away. They took it away. Sylvia pocketed it. And yes, I spoke before all the band directors. And I told them I was going to do everything that I could to fight so that they wouldn't take their money. And I am sorry I failed in regards to finishing that term, but if you all will have me again, my band directors, we're coming back, and I need you to help me bring others along as well. And we'll right all the wrongs at BISD. We'll make sure that there is a clear, true, transparent co-mingling, co-working with TSC and with other entries here in the city of Brownsville, but it's got to be transparent. It has to be transparent. You didn't fail. You have my. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you. He went full Mount Pele. Love you guys. Love you all, guys. Tomorrow morning, 9:00 in the morning. Remember in November, guys. Remember in November. TSC elections are in November. BISD board elections are in November. Let's take them all, guys. Let's take them all. God bless. Be good to each other. Be good to me. Be good to these guys as well. Hasta mañana a las 9 de la mañana. Tomorrow night, Dr. Cerdan. God bless. Adios.